Hello everyone. Today we are going to begin with the first topic of cell biology, that is introduction to cell biology. The cell biology can be defined as the study of cells with respect to morphology, biochemistry, physiology, genetics, development, and molecular structure, which help in a proper understanding of various life activities like metabolism, growth, differentiation, heredity, and evolution at the cellular level and molecular levels is called as cell biology. So, this is the definition of the cell biology in a deep sense. The cell biology can be defined as the study of cells with respect to their morphology, their biochemistry, physiology, genetics, development, and molecular structure, which helps in a proper understanding of various life activities which are performed by cells in all living organisms, such as metabolism, growth, differentiation, heredity, and evolution at the cellular and molecular levels is called as cell biology. The cell is the smallest unit of life. All living organisms are composed of single or many cells and cell products, which we call as unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms. The first compound microscope was invented by Robert Hooke, and he first observed and described cells in 1665. He first used the term cell to describe the hollow box-like cavities in a cork. This was the beginning of a new branch of biology, the study of cell or a cytology. So previously, while the investigation or the study of cells, the branch was described as a cytology also. After this discovery, that is the discovery of cells as a hollow box-like structure found in a cavities in the form of cavities in a cork, and which is then described as a cell. So this was the beginning of a new branch of biology, that is the study of cell or cytology. After this discovery, many other scientists made the observation of the cell and its various components in the next 100 years or so. Among them were the well-known scientist Lamarck in 1809, then Dutrochet in 1824, and Turpin in 1826. The botanist Brown in 1831 discovered that all plant cells possesses nucleus. In 1838, Sleden, a German botanist, studied the plant cells and discovered plant tissues, or discovered that all tissues of the plants are made up of cells. And he emphasized that cells are organisms and all animals and plants are aggregation of these organisms or cells arranged according to certain basic laws. So this is what the previous work uh, done and proposed or put forth in the form of study of cells as a important component of the living organism, might be plants or animals, and that explains the all living organisms including plants and animals or their tissues are composed of cells, or the all plants and animals are also composed of cells or number of cells in the form of tissues. The German zoologist Schwann in 1939 arrived at the same conclusion for the animals, and he stated that all the organisms are composed of essentially alike parts, namely the cells. So, according to the German zoologist Schwann, who also came to the conclusion that all living organisms or the animals that are also composed of cells that are also made up of the cells, and this concept was then applied to all living organisms. So the finding of Sleden and Schwann that all living organisms consist of cells and cell products is now referred to as the cell theory or the cell principle. So this is what the cell theory or the cell principle, and according to this cell theory or cell principle, all living organisms, that is plants and animals, are consisting of cells or are composed of cells and cell products. So this is the previous or the beginning of the studies of the cell biology or the discovery of the cells. So, cell is the smallest unit of life, and all living organisms are composed of many cells or a single cell and the cell products. So, with this, the cells uh, are a very important component, or the cell products are a very important component from which all plants and animals are derived or consisting of cells and the cell products. So this is what the ancient theories supporting the composition of plants and animals in the form of cells and cell products. So the cells and cell products are solely important or essential for the composition or the formation of living entities, that is plants and animals, and whatever the activities in the form of metabolism, growth, or differentiation, heredity, or the evolution that are only due to the cell and cell products. So, cells are thus solely responsible for all life activities of the plants or animals, and the study of all these activities is done under the same heading, that is the cell biology. So, cell biology thus can be defined as the study of cells with respect to its morphology, then its biochemistry, or its physiology, or its genetics, or the development, and the molecular structure, which helps in a proper understanding of the various life activities such as metabolism, growth, differentiation, heredity, and the evolution at the cellular and molecular levels is called as cell biology. So, among the plants or animals, whatever the activities or the processes happening in the entire body of the plant or animal are only due to the cells, or cells are solely responsible to carry out all these life activities. So, uh, and thus it is very important to study the cells so as to have the clear knowledge or idea about the various life processes uh, so as to study the cell biology. So, this is what about the definition and the basic principle or the cell theory, which is very important as far as the study of life or the study of all living organisms. According to cell theory, according to the cell theory, all living organisms from the simple unicellular organisms to very complex plants and animals is composed of cells and cell products, and each cell can act or each cell can work independently but functions as an integral part of the complete organism. So, for the development of normally functioning organisms, for the development of normally functioning organisms, there requires the normal cells as a important component or the part of the living organism. So, according to the cell theory, all living organisms, that is unicellular or multicellular organisms, or simple and complex organisms, right from protozoa to metazoa or from protozoa to mammals, the body of which, the body of all organisms or the animals or even the plants are composed of cells and cell products, and each cell can act independently or each cell work independently in the body of plants or the animals and performing a particular function as an integral part, the collective part of the complete organism or a plant. Schwann believed that cells could be spontaneously generated by a process analogous to crystal formation, but studies of developing embryo showed that during growth, cells multiply themselves by cell division. So, at first, Schwann believed that cells could be spontaneously generated, cells could be formed spontaneously by a process that is a analogous process to crystal formation, similar to a process analogous to crystal formation or similar to crystal formation. But studies of the developing embryos showed that during growth, cells multiply and themselves by the cell division. So, cells multiply themselves or cells themselves undergo the process of cell division and leading into increased number of cells, and this will result into the growth of the developing embryo. So, these observations were summarized by Colliker in 1841 that sperms and ova are histological elements originating in the organism. So, according to Colliker, in 1841 who first explained that the sperms and ova, that is male and female gametes, are the histological elements, means these are produced or found in the tissues or in the organs as a histological elements, and these are originating from the organisms. Rodolphe Virchow in 1855 added a very important point in the cell theory with his famous aphorism or proverb that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. An animal arises only from an animal and the plant only from a plant. So, that was the Rudolf Virchow in 1855 added his important information or the point in the cell theory with a famous aphorism or with his famous aphorism or the proverb that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. So, cells are originating from the previously available cells or pre-existing cells, and he also explained that all animals arise from an animal and all plants arise from the plants. So, it simply it indicates or explains that the animals are originating or formed from the animals and plants are formed from the plants. Another important discovery was that the development of an embryo starts with the fusion of two nuclei, one coming from an egg and the other from a sperm, these are the cells. So the egg cell or the sperm cell, these are again the gametes, which also explains the process of fertilization or the fusion of two gametes, that is male and female gametes, which are derived from two different sexes, that is male or female parents, and these eggs and sperm cells which fuse first, and then the nucleus present inside will fuse to form a diploid nucleus, and from which then new embryo or a new organism develops. So this is also the important discovery, uh, that is the development of an embryo starts with the fusion of two nuclei which are brought together by two cells, that is egg cell and sperm cell, or the female gamete and the male gamete, and which was introduced into the egg during the fertilization. So at the time of fertilization, the egg receiving the sperm or the sperm nucleus, and which then fuses with the egg nucleus to form the zygote, and which then develops into a new embryo or new organism. Hartwig in 1875, before the end of 19th century, it was established that gametes, that is eggs and sperm cells, are formed by reduction division. Later, it is called as a meiosis. So by which the number of chromosomes of the species remains constant from one generation to another. So Hartwig in 1875, who discovered that Hartwig in 1875, who first discovered that the development of embryo occurs due to the fusion of two nuclei from which are coming from an egg and other from the sperm cell. So, according to Hartwig in 1875, the development of embryo takes place due to the fusion of one nucleus from egg and another nucleus from the sperm cell during the fertilization. So, the process of fertilization, that is the fusion of male and female gamete or nucleus of male gamete and the female gamete, leads to the development of new embryo or new organism. Then before the end of 19th century, that is during the same 19th century, before the end of 19th century, it was established that gametes, that is eggs and sperm cells, are formed by the reduction division. So similar to the mitosis, so this is a duplication division, process of duplication division, during which the chromosome number of the cell remain constant or the same generation after generation or division after division. So through a process of successive division or the mitotic division or the process of mitosis, the chromosome number, diploid chromosome number of the cells remain constant. So this is what actually happens during the process of growth or the development of the organism or even the development of embryo. But during the gametogenesis, the process is reduction division. So during egg or sperm cell formation or during the process of gametogenesis, that is spermatogenesis or oogenesis, there is a reduction division. There is a reduction division of the cells and is called as meiosis. And due to this reduction division or the process of meiosis, at the end of gametogenesis or during the egg or sperm formation, the chromosome number is reduced from diploid to haploid. So, in a cells or the diploid cells might be egg mother cell or the sperm mother cell, which are having two set of the chromosomes, but due to the process of gametogenesis or meiosis or due to the reduction division, at the end of cell division, the haploid gametes, that is eggs and sperms, are produced at the end of process of meiosis, and which is thus called as a reduction division because the chromosome number is reduced from diploid to haploid in the gametes. Again, on the fusion of two haploid gametes, the diploid chromosome number is retained or maintained or acquired in the zygotic cell or in the zygote, which then develops into new organism of the same species. So, before the end of the 19th century, it was established that gametes, that is egg and sperm cells, are formed by reduction division. Later, this process is called as meiosis, by which the number of chromosomes of a species remains constant from one generation to another. Then we'll define the cell. The cell was first described in 1665 by Robert Hooke. The cell was first described or discovered in 1665 by Robert Hooke, the curator of Royal Society of London, while observing thin slices of the cork under crude or rough microscope. Hooke observed walls of cork cells which appeared in the form of small boxes or the compartments, and these compartments were later described as cells. So, cella means the compartment. So, that was the Robert Hooke who first discovered the cells in the slice of the quark. So, the cell was first described or observed by Robert Hooke in 1665, and while observing thin slices or the thin sections of the cork under the crude or very simple microscope, and Hooke observed the walls of the cork or the cell walls of the cork cells which appeared in the form of boxes or the compartments, and these compartments were later described as cells. Cell as a basic unit of life. So, this is again a concept or a important argument or the statement that we explain as a cell as a basic unit of the life. Why the cell is called as a basic unit of life? Why the cell is called as a basic unit of life, that will explain in details in support to support this particular argument, to support or to explain this argument. We will explain some important points which are useful or which are very important so as to explain the cell as a basic unit of life. Although it is very difficult to define a cell, as we have defined the definition of cell biology at first, so that is very complex, very long and very complex definition of the cell biology. So, it is also difficult to define the cell. Although it is very difficult to define a cell, many scientists have defined the cell in their own way or in their own understandings. Some of the definitions are as follows. Cell is the structural and functional unit of living organisms. The cell is the structural and functional unit of living organisms. Means the living organisms, that is plants, animals or microorganisms, all of which are formed or their bodies are formed by the cells, or all the living functions or all the living processes which are happening or performed by the living organisms or happening in the plants or animals that are only due to the cells, and thus the single sentence explains uh, the cell is very important for the formation of the life or formation of the living organisms or the performance of the life. So whatever the life processes performed or occurring among the plants and animals, that are only due to the cells, and thus the statement or the definition of the cell is the structural and functional unit of the living organism. So whatever the structure or the body of living organism or whatever the functions of the living organisms that are only due to the cells, that are performed by the cells, and hence the definition is cell is the structural and functional unit of living organisms. Again, cell is the smallest living unit. The another statement to define the cell is the smallest living unit capable of independent existence. Capable of independent existence. So, this is another statement or the definition of the cell, which is the smallest unit. Cell is the smallest unit of the living organisms and it is capable of its independent existence. So, it can exist. The cell can exist itself, or cell is the independent structure. Cell can work, cell can perform the particular function or the life process independently. So cell is the smallest living unit capable of independent existence. Then cell is the smallest mass of living matter. Cell is the smallest mass of living matter or a protoplasm containing nuclear material. So cell is the smallest mass of the living matter or the protoplasm containing nuclear material, and cell is a piece of nucleated cytoplasm. Cell is a piece of nucleated cytoplasm, means cytoplasm containing nucleus. Cell is a piece of nucleated cytoplasm, that is a cell is a piece of cell is a structure like a piece of cytoplasm containing nucleus surrounded by the cell wall or the plasma membrane, and cytoplasm is enclosed by a cell membrane or a plasma membrane or a cell wall. So cell is a piece of nucleated cytoplasm and is surrounded by a cell wall or the plasma membrane. So none of the above definition is ideal. None of the above definitions is ideal, as exceptions of each definition are available. So each of the definition is not a complete definition. Each of the definition, whatever the definitions which we have stated earlier, that are not complete, each of which having some exception or some thing, each of the definition of the statement missing something. So each of the definition is not ideal, or uh, as each of the definition is having some exceptions or some something missing. Lowy and Sequitz, Lowy and Sequitz in 1963 gave the definition of the cell, which has been accepted by majority of the scientists. So in 1963, these two cell biologists, Lowy and Sequitz, who first gave the definition of the cell and which has been accepted by the majority of scientists or the group of scientists, and this definition is as follows. Cell is the unit of biological activity. Cell is the unit of biological activity delimited by a semi-permeable membrane and capable of self-reproduction in a medium free from other living systems. in a medium free from other living systems. So this is again a definition proposed by Loewy and Sequits. Cell is the unit of biological activity. So whatever the biological activity or the processes occurring in the cell. So cell is the unit of biological activity delimited by or uh, happening in a semi-permeable membrane delimited by or enclosed the cellular components that are enclosed in a semi-permeable membrane and capable of self reproduction or cell division. So it divides or it can produce the cell similar to itself. Similar type of cell or the same type of cell, same structural components can be transformed or developing from the cell uh, into new cells. So cells are capable of self-reproduction in a medium free from other living system. In a medium free from other living systems. So the cell itself can acquire its requisite or its requirements so as to divide it into two daughter cells. So without the support of any other component or any other living system, the cells can divide themselves. The cells are capable of self reproduction in a medium free from other living system. This means the cells themselves can divide into two daughter cells or can reproduce or can form new cells from itself without the support or without the support of any other living systems. So cell is the unit of biological activity. So whatever the biological activity or the biological functions happening in the cells. So cell is the unit of biological activity. Cell is the unit of biological activity. It is a unit and it is delimited or it is covered by a semi-permeable membrane. Covered by a semi-permeable membrane. So cell is the unit of biological activity or cell is the unit or organized structure performing all biological activities and it is covered by a semi-permeable membrane. So this unit is covered by a semi-permeable membrane and it is again capable of self reproduction. So the same structure of the cell, similar structure of the cell can be produced by the cell itself without support of any other living systems. Divisions of cell biology. Divisions of cell biology. Cell biology is a hotspot in a biological research facilitated by new and advanced instruments and the techniques. So cell biology nowadays, cell biology is a hotspot in a biological research facilitated by a new and advanced instruments and the techniques. And for this purpose, the most significant and encouraging development uh, in the 20th century has been the alliance of cell biology with the other fields of life sciences and interdisciplinary sciences. A brief account of the different branches of cytology or cell biology is given below. So, in a modern day, the cell biology became a hotspot in the biological research because there are now different type of new facilities or advanced instruments or the techniques are available and with the help of which the most significant and encouraging development in the 20th century uh, has been the alliance or available for the studies of the cell biology uh, and also the studies of other fields of the life sciences are also the interdisciplinary sciences, and thus there are several branches of the cell biology. There are several branches of the cell biology which are uh, developed or which can be studied with the branches of uh, other sciences or the interdisciplinary sciences. So, study of cell biology can be done with other branches of the science, or the study of cell biology can be done along with other branches of the life sciences, or maybe the physical sciences or the chemical sciences, whatever the new branches which we study today, that can be studied along with the cell biology, so as to have different type of applications, maybe uh, multidisciplinary approaches, or interdisciplinary approaches, or even various branches of the life sciences. So, study of cell biology can be done, the studies of the cell biology can be done uh, hand in hand with the other branches of the science or interdisciplinary branches of the science, and thus, or even various branches of the life sciences can be studied together as separate branches other than cell biology. So, first branch, that is cytogenetics. So, it is a branch of cytology or cell biology, and it deals with the study of cytological study and a molecular basis of the heredity, variations, mutation, phylogeny, morphogenesis, differentiation, and evolution of the chromosomal behavior of the organisms. So, this is just a study of cell biology together with the study of genetics. So, study of genetics of the cell, the study of genetics of the cells, or various processes of the genetics, that is inheritance, variations, mutations, then species formation, development of new organisms, then differentiation or evolutions. These are all the processes or the activities which are related with the chromosomal behavior. So, chromosomes are the solely responsible to uh, occur all these life processes. So, all these life processes such as heredity, variations, mutations, phylogeny, morphogenesis, differentiation, and the evolution, all of these activities or the processes occurring in the cells or occurring in the living organisms, which are only due to the chromosomes or the genes present on the chromosomes, or this can be explained as a chromosomal behavior of the organism. So, study of genetics and the study of cell or the cytology can be studied together. So, study of cell biology with respect to the molecular basis, the study of cell biology with respect to the molecular basis of the heredity, variations, mutations, phylogeny, morphogenesis, differentiation, and the evolution of the chromosomal behavior of organism is called as cytogenetics. So, at the same time, whatever the genetics, studies of the genetics are the processes which are related with the chromosomes or the genes at a molecular level can be studied in the branch of cell biology called as cytogenetics. According to Wilson, heredity appears as a consequence of the genetic continuity of the cells by division. According to Wilson, heredity appears, the characters, generation after generation, transmission of the characters from one generation to next generation is called as heredity. So, according to Wilson, heredity appears as a consequence of the genetic continuity of the cells by the process of cell division, that is mitosis. So, As cell reproduce or the single cell can divide into two daughter cells, and while its division or the formation of new cells from the pre-existing cell or the cell itself divides into two daughter cells and forming similar cells and transmitting the similar traits of the characters from one generation to the next generation or from one cell into the new cells. So this is just a consequence of the genetic continuity, because genes and chromosomes are responsible. Genes and the chromosomes in the nucleus of the cell are solely responsible for the inheritance or the transmission of characters from one generation to the next generation. So this is just a continuity or genetic continuity of the cell, and this happens through the process of cell division like mitosis or meiosis. So according to Wilson, the heredity appears as a consequence of the genetic continuity of the cell, and this happens by the process of cell division. So the study of germ cells proved the study of germ cells or the reproductive cells. The study of germ cells proved the theory of continuity of germ cells proposed by Weizmann in 1833 to explain the transmission of hereditary characters, and this happens due to the cell nucleus, which contains the chromosomes as a physical basis of the heredity. Physical basis of heredity. So physical basis means this is actual a genetic material or the nuclear material consisting of chromosomes and the genes in the form of DNA. So this is a structure, physical basis for the inheritance of the character or the transmission of the characters from generation to generation or from one cell to the next cell, which is the product of the process of cell division, that is either mitosis or meiosis. So the study of germ cells proved the theory of continuity of the germ cells, and which was proposed by Weizmann in 1833 to explain the transmission of heredity character, the transmission of hereditary characters due to the cell nucleus which contains the chromosomes as a physical basis of the heredity. The knowledge of cytogenetics has been useful in the identification and synthesis of hereditary material. The knowledge of cytogenetics has been useful in the identification and synthesis of hereditary material, cracking the genetic code, hybridization for the development of superior qualities of crop varieties. So this is just a application, the development of superior or improved varieties with the good qualities or the superior quality of the crop varieties, and that is possible through the process or through the study of processes of uh, hereditary processes which are only due to the chromosomes, or the process of hybridizations, process of hybridization, or the genes or the genetic material which is present in the nucleus. So the knowledge of cytogenetics is useful in identification and the synthesis of hereditary material, that is DNA, which crack the genetic code, cracking the genetic code or hybridization for the development of superior qualities of the crop varieties. Then cytotaxonomy. So every species, it is found that every species, whether plant or animal, has a definite number of chromosomes in its cell. Hence, it is similar to another organism of its species in a shape, size, habitat, and behavior. Cytotaxonomy. So, this is again the important branch of the cell biology, cytotaxonomy. So, it is found that every species, that is plants or animals, having a definite number of chromosomes in the cells, and hence it is similar to another organism of its species in a shape, size, habitat, and behavior. And these characteristics of the chromosomes helps taxonomists to determine the taxonomical positions of the species in the process of classification or the taxonomy. It also helps in understanding the origin of certain taxonomic units and which helps in determining the taxonomic position of any species. So, for the process of classification, uh, the cytotaxonomy is the branch and is useful for uh, grouping the animals or for the classification of the animals on the basis of their characters or which are with similar characters and that are only due to the similar uh, number of chromosomes in the cells or the similar type of number of chromosomes with a uh, similar genetic material or chemical composition in the form of DNA or the chromosomes, which is producing the similar traits in the future generations with respect to their shape, size, or habitat or the behavior. And this is thus helps in the process of classification of these organisms into a particular taxa or a group or in a species. Cell physiology. Cell physiology deals with the study of life activities such as nutrition, metabolism, excitability, growth, reproduction, or cell division and cell differentiation. Thus, cell physiology has helped in the understanding of various complicated physiological activities or the processes at the cellular level, and this knowledge can be applied for the understanding of various normal and abnormal physiological life activities or the processes which are occurring in the living organism. So, cell physiology means it is again a branch of cell physiology means whatever the life processes or the physiological activities taking place in the living organisms that are due to the cells itself. So, cell physiology deals with the study of life activities such as nutrition, metabolism, sensation or excitability, then growth and reproduction or cell differentiation, and all these activities are occurring uh, in the living organism due to some physiological processes of the cells. So, thus cell physiology has helped in understanding various complicated physiological activities at the cellular level, and this knowledge can be applied for understanding various normal and abnormal physiological activities in the cells or in the living organisms. Cytopathology, the diseases, this branch deals with cytopathology branch deals with the diseases that are caused due to the abnormal activity of the cells, tissues, and the toxic chemicals. For example, cancer cells, effects of viruses on the cell structure and the function, and effect of toxic chemical on the tissues are studied in the branch called as cytopathology. So, whatever the diseases or the abnormal activities occurring in the cells might be due to the cells or tissues and the toxic chemicals such as cancer cells or the pathogens like viruses which are causing certain effect on the cell structure and interfering with the cellular functions in the form of abnormal conditions or might be the effect of toxic chemical on the tissues, and these are studied in the branch that is cytopathology. Thus, it shows a close relation between cytology and pathology on one hand and the medicine on the other hand, and this in turn is useful in understanding various diseases of the animals. So, cytopathology deals with the study of cells with respect to some sort of abnormalities or the abnormal functions and might be due to the toxic substances or the abnormal processes might be due to the pathogens, might be due to the cells like cancer cells, which are leading into the abnormal conditions or the disease conditions. And with the help of study of cell biology and the pathology together, that is the cytopathology, so which is having close relation. Cytology and pathology, these are the two separate branches, that is occurrence of disease condition, formation of disease condition in the cells. So study of cell biology on one hand and the study of pathology on other hand, these are the two branches. So with the help of cytopathology we can study the abnormal conditions or the disease conditions which can develop, which can occur in the living organisms, and what kind of medicine is essential to get relief from such a disease condition. So this branch, that is cytopathology, shows the close relation between the cytology and pathology on one hand and the medicine on the other hand, and this in turn is useful in understanding various diseases of the animals. So with the help of cytopathology we can study the variety of diseases which are occurring in the living organisms, and that can be studied with the studies of cytopathology. Then cytochemistry. Cytochemistry is the branch of cell biology concerned with the study of physico-chemical and chemical composition of living matter. Cytochemistry is the branch of cell biology concerned with the study of physicochemical. So whatever physiological activities or the reactions or the metabolism taking place in the cell that are only due to the cell chemicals and chemical composition of the living matter or the living cells. So cytochemistry is the branch of cell biology and it is concerned with the study of physiochemicals and chemical composition of the living matter. So whatever the cellular components in the form of nuclear material or cytoplasmic material which is enclosed in the plasma membrane or the cell membrane in the form of living matter consisting of variety of chemicals and which are related or responsible for the physiological processes of the cells, and thus cytochemistry deals with the study of cell biology. Cytochemistry deals with the study of cell with respect to its physiochemicals and the chemical composition of the living matter. The cytochemical analysis indicates the presence of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and other organic and inorganic chemical components in the cell. So cell chemistry shows the presence of the cell chemistry shows the presence of proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, and other organic and inorganic chemical components which are present in the cells. And with the help of biochemistry, researchers have been able to isolate and analyze the cell molecules and organelles and their metabolic functions. So, all these chemical reactions or the physiological reactions, all the physiological reactions or the processes which are taking place in the cell or in the living matter of the cells which are only due to the variety of chemicals such as complex biomolecules or biomolecules in the form of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acid, that is DNA, RNA, and other organic and inorganic substances or the chemical components which are present in the cells, so which are thus solely responsible for the physiological processes of the cells, and these chemicals can be studied from the cells, that is the branch, the study of cytology or cell biology together with its chemicals is called as cytochemistry. So with the help of biochemistry, or the biological chemistry or the chemicals which are present in the living system or the cells, researchers have been able to isolate or analyze the cell molecules and organelles and their metabolic functions. So cytochemistry deals with the study of variety of chemicals present in the cells called as biochemicals and how they are playing or performing their role in the physiological activities of the cells. So that could be studied under the branch or heading called as cytochemistry. Molecular biology and ultrastructure. Molecular biology and ultrastructure. This branch deals with the ultrastructure of cell organelles. This branch deals with the ultrastructure of cell organelles, cell membranes, and their molecular organization with the help of electron microscopy. It is a modern branch of biology due to the merging of cytobiology or cytology with biochemistry, physiochemistry, macromolecular and colloidal chemistry. Knowledge of ultrastructure of the cell is of fundamental importance because practically all the functional and physiochemical transformations taking place at the molecular level. So molecular biology and the ultrastructure. So molecular biology deals with the studies of different biochemicals at a molecular level. Molecular biology deals with the study of biomolecules, that is lipids, carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, that is DNA, RNA, and other organic substances or inorganic substances or the which are present in the cell. So the study of which at a molecular level and how they are important in a various physiological processes or biochemical processes can be studied under the branch that is molecular biology and the ultrastructure. So this branch deals with the ultrastructure of cell or the ultrastructure of cell organelles, cell membranes and their molecular organization or the materials with the help of electron microscopy, and it is a modern branch of biology due to the merging of cytology with biochemistry, physiochemistry or macromolecular and colloidal chemistry. So knowledge of ultrastructure of the cell is of fundamental importance because practically all the functional and physiochemical transformation taking place at the molecular level, and thus it is important branch that is molecular biology. Cytoevolution. Radiant energies such as ionizing radiations, X-rays, gamma rays, and some chemicals such as CO60, that is cobalt 60, alter the structure and number of chromosomes, and these alterations manifest or manipulate themselves in the morphology and physiology of the organisms. Morphology and the physiology of organisms, and it reveals to some extent how the evolution has occurred. So cytoevolution is the branch of life science or a branch of biology, and this deals with the radiant energies or the different type of radiations, ionizing radiations, X-rays, gamma rays, and some chemicals like cobalt 60, which are having ability or capacity to alter or to change the structure and number of the chromosomes, and these alterations then leads to the modifications or the manipulations themselves in the morphology and physiology. If the structural structure of the cell or the structure of or the morphological structure of organism if changing, this ultimately leads to the change in the physiological processes or the biological functions of the organisms, and this reveals to some extent how the evolution has occurring. So cytoevolution is the branch deals with the study of uh, evolution or the changes or the alterations which can occur due to the influence of the ionizing radiations or certain chemicals like carbon 60, and which are having ability or the change uh, in a structure and number of the chromosomes, and ultimately their expressions in the form of or their effects in the form of changes in the morphology and the physiology or different life processes. So this may lead to the evolution in a long time. Then another branch, cytoecology. It is the branch of cytology and it deals with the effect of ecological changes on the chromosome number of the cell. The cytological studies of the plant and animal cells indicate the relation of organism with its ecological habitat and its geographical distribution. So cytoecology deals with the ecological changes or the environmental changes. It deals with, it is the branch, cytoecology is the branch of cytology and it deals with the effect of ecological changes, environmental changes on the chromosome number of the cell, and the cytological studies of the plant and animal cells indicate the relation of the organism with its ecological habitat and the geographical distribution. So cytoecology deals with the study of cytology, which is related with the environment, cytology and the environment. So how the environment or the environmental factors leads to some sort of alteration or the changes in the plant and animal cells, and these changes are on the basis of habitat and their geographical distribution. And last one, that is the cell culture. Cell cultured in a vitro or in a culture have been used for the understanding basic cell biology, that is DNA replication and problems thereof, transcription, protein synthesis, energy metabolism, receptor studies, cell cycle analysis, cell division, gene expression, signal transduction, apoptosis, effect of external agents like drugs and contaminants or the pollutants, effects of radiations, population kinetics, cell and cell matrix interactions. So cell cultured in a vitro, so we can, cell culture is a branch of, again, a biology or the life science, and it deals with the culture of the cells, growth of cells in a vitro or in an artificial culture or the medium, and which is useful for the understanding of basic cell biology. And this includes variety of processes of the cells such as DNA replication and the problems of the DNA replication, that is problems thereof, then transcription, protein synthesis, energy metabolism, receptor studies, cell cycle analysis, cell division, gene expression, signal transduction, apoptosis, effect of external agents like drugs and the contaminants, effects of radiations, population kinetics, cell and cell matrix interaction. So all these are the processes which are occurring in the cell and can be studied with the help of cell culture. Cell culture are also used to understand disease processes better, especially malignancy like cancer, isolation of viruses, vaccine production, production of biologically important molecules. So cell culture is also important or the useful for the understanding of disease processes, or especially the malignancy or the isolation of the viruses, vaccine production, production of biologically important molecules. Then cell fusion techniques are used to understand somatic cell genetics for mapping genes on chromosomes and for the development of monoclonal antibodies. Cell cultures are popularly used for gene transfer studies. Recently, the stem cell culture have been reported to differentiate into functional cells in vitro or in a culture which have future applications in a regenerative medicine. So this is modern aspect or a modern approach for the treatment or the therapy or for the treatment or the therapeutic use for the treatment of the diseases or certain abnormalities where we can use the stem cells as a regenerative medicine. Thus, for all the above purposes, plant and animal cell cultures have been established in sophisticated research laboratories. So, cell culture is also very important branch for the mankind. So, this is what about the different branches of the cell biology, or how they are applicable or the useful for the benefits of the human being. There are these nine branches which we have explained as branches of cell biology, and which are very important uh, for the mankind or for the human welfare. So we have explained all these branches of the cell biology, that is cytogenetics, then cytotaxonomy, cell physiology, cell pathology, cytochemistry, molecular biology and ultrastructure, cytoevolution, cytoecology, cell culture. So all of these branches of cell biology are very important as far as the benefits or the advantages which are, because which are very essential and useful for the mankind or for the betterment of the human race. So today with this we'll stop here, and next time we'll continue the next topic, that is shape and size of the cells. So with this today we'll stop here. Thank you.